years ago in pop culture history, DaBaby went from being the next big thing to destroying his own career. So this is the story of the downfall of DaBaby. DaBaby was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and then he moved to Charlotte, North Carolina as a kid. His career really took off in 2019 with his debut studio album, Baby on Baby. Now, before the controversy that ended DaBaby's career, he was actually no stranger to being in the news. In October 2018, there was an incident at a Walmart where there's an altercation, police show up, and they find Jalen Dominique Craig on the floor dead. Jalen was a 19-year-old, and according to DaBaby, he actually tried to rob him and then also showed him a weapon and threatened his family. DaBaby was initially charged with the death of Jalen. However, the judge did bring the charge down to a misdemeanor carrying a weapon because they did look at the security footage and his story checked out. He was just defending himself. 2 years later in 2020, DaBaby and his crew were accused of jumping a party promoter in Miami after they allegedly did not pay DaBaby for his performance. DaBaby did spend 48 hours in the Miami jail. However, he was released but still charged with battery. Fast forward to July 25th, 2021. Now, DaBaby is performing at Rolling Loud in Miami on the final day. As a little bit of context, Meg Thee Stallion performed right before DaBaby. Now, if you want to time travel back to what was actually happening during this time period, DaBaby was claiming to have slept with Meg, and Meg was like, no, you didn't. But also, this was right after Meg was accusing Tory Lanez of shooting her in the foot. Meg Thee Stallion and DaBaby had collaborated on a few projects, but just due to everything that was going on, they were not in the best spot at this point. So what does DaBaby do? He actually brings Tory Lanez out to perform with him during his set. Now, because Meg Thee Stallion performed right before DaBaby, they most likely had to cross paths backstage. This was just very petty, very weird behavior, because why would you bring the man that I'm accusing of harming me backstage where you know I'm going to have to see him? Like, you hate me. And then to make matters worse, DaBaby gets on stage and he makes some very gross, misogynistic, and homophobic comments. I'm not going to repeat what he said, and I actually don't even think I can put a clip in here without getting my account taken down, but if you want to look it up, I encourage you to do so you have a reminder of what to never say. DaBaby got a ton of backlash for these comments from everyone except for two chief misogynists themselves. First, we have T.I. T.I. gets on the internet and says if Lil Nas X can live his truth, why can't DaBaby live his? And of course, we can never talk misogyny or homophobia without mentioning Mr. Boozy Badass himself. He gets on Instagram and goes on a very homophobic rant, specifically targeting Lil Nas X. Anyone with even a half-qualified PR manager would know that the next best thing that DaBaby needed to do was apologize, and quickly. But of course, that is not what happened. He got on Instagram stories the next day and doubled down on his statement, saying that if you were not there at the concert to witness the statements live, then you should just shut up because you don't know what you're talking about. DaBaby said his comments were just a call to action, and then he said that he is, quote, the best live performer. Of course, he got even more backlash for this, and then he kind of halfway apologized to those he offended with HIV, but then he kind of took it back and was like, well, if you weren't there, you just didn't know the whole story. By the time DaBaby issued that half apology, it was far too late for him. First, Boohoo Man cut him off despite the fact that earlier that summer they had dropped a 100-piece collection with him. Both Elton John and Madonna spoke out about spreading misinformation about HIV and AIDS, which if you need any additional context, I encourage you to look it up, but getting these two to agree about anything is a feat in itself. And most notably, other festivals started dropping him from the set, so Lollapalooza dropped this and basically said Lil Baby will not be performing anymore. And the next day, the Governor's Ball dropped him from their lineup as well. On August 2nd, the day after getting dropped from Lollapalooza and the day of getting dropped from the Governor's Ball, he did issue a formal apology for his hateful comments toward the LGBTQ community. However, just 5 days later, he did delete the apology from his page. DaBaby did do an interview with Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay, and he estimates that he lost $200 million due to the controversy, and he must have really been feeling it because in 2022, he went viral again for selling buy one, get one tickets to his concert for $22 plus a $6 fee. So yeah, if you need any other motivation besides being a decent human being, not to be homophobic, please use DaBaby as an example.